YIELDBRICKS as a founder. My name is Alan, and please enjoy my pitch today. Let me have an opening question. Did you know that over 45% of private investors consider real estate the best investment option? It's an impressive figure, but here's a catch. In US, only 13% of people actually invest due to significant barriers within the sector. Now, imagine the gap in other parts of the world where investing for passive income is even more limited. Even educated investors are facing big challenges with sourcing and managing investments on global markets. And that's where the YIELDBRICKS steps in. We are charting new waters by solving most common issues such as high capital demand, lack of liquidity and transparency, accessibility and complexity. We democratize access to selected investment opportunities and simplify the tokenization process through our designated DeFi vaults, redefining an emerging sector projected at close to $20 trillion. Our innovative protocol unites the best of traditional investing with DeFi yield farming, committed to deliver safe, simple, and inclusive access to premium deals for all. We kept it super simple, and here's how it works. First, we source and vet the best global opportunities. After comprehensive DD, we pre-manage all the properties to generate revenue. Then we conduct on and off-chain data verification and audits for a transparent overview of all the assets. Only after that, we open the DeFi vaults, fractionalized it into $50 slots, providing instant yield and full transparency to the users before any commitment. Behind it, there is, of course, the structured procedure with numerous safety precautions ensuring fully backed and stable passive income. After joining vaults, users now enjoy automated yield and having three exit options. One is trading on secondary market, instant swap feature for extra liquidity, or properties sold for additional revenue through appreciation, which is again equally and fair shared among all participants. And the best part, we are 100% legally compliant without any security risks. How is that? Sorry, I have to switch the slide. How is that? Well, since 2021, we've been on a mission, building around it ever since. A legal solution was definitely the #1 challenge since the day one, and we simulated 7 or even 8 different models involving many legal experts and firms to utilize best practices. Securing all the legal opinions, business assessments, and licenses took a lot of time, but in a simple sense, YIELDBRICKS protocol is wrapped up as a lending borrowing model where our asset holding entity is actually a borrower, and on the other side, we have users who are the lenders. Behind every investment, there is a loan agreement and issued IOUs, and the revenues are distributed back to the vaults in the form of interest rates. So don't panic if you missed on YIELDBRICKS before. We kept it a bit low profile on purpose, although many investors heard from us, and it resulted in 50+ reputable VCs in the pipeline, closing around 600K SAFs deals and gathering over 2 million of SAF commitments to date. Our presence within the space is also gaining a strong momentum. We are just onboarding at least 30 top-tier KOLs with many premium providers and utilizing for a full marketing lineup to launch a massive pre-launch campaign. Aligned with our next major announcement, we are revealing a top-tier launch path and arrangement in the following days, and between us, there is another elite path in the pipeline as we speak. So keep on following us, and there are amazing stuff behind us. MVP will be released in the next 3 weeks, and we are boosting our marketing efforts significantly alongside. Together with all the leading marketing partners on board, LKI Consulting is our main agency. Then we have Kryptonite, who will secure an extra creative special campaigns. We have region-specific partners such as Alpha Catalyst in CRS region, for example, and a whole set of carefully selected ones, including the best growth hackers out there. It all leads down to the April when TG and launch on Arbitrum is taking place, followed by Tier 1 exchange listing with our selected options, hopefully Bybit on top of it. Being strictly community-focused and thorough with our approach, this is just where it all starts for us. Finally, YIELDBRICKS is about to leverage a comprehensive GTM strategy. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time, but I can shortly name a few key points like innovative community incentives, educational platform, rewarding tier model, specific wealth managers campaign, and so on and so forth. Let me use these final moments to briefly share who's behind all of that. So YIELDBRICKS team is a blend of tech specialists, entrepreneurs, and experts in blockchain and real estate with hands-on involvement in prominent brands like Hacken or Polygon, for example. From being involved in over 200 startups across various sectors to managing multi-million-dollar businesses, our collective experience sets us apart. On top of the elite of developers and industry leaders, our investment team with over 40 years of experience and a 300 million AUM definitely makes a difference. Current assignment is to add leading experts for CMO and CLO roles to complete the core, and this establishment is poised to redefine the real estate investment for retail investors worldwide. Alongside upcoming major upgrades and announcements, we are trying to get in the best possible shape prior to our intensive pitching season coming in a week or two. Saying that, I'd like to encourage basically everyone interested in us to reach out via official channels or to me privately, as we're always very open to explore promising opportunities. So thanks for your attention, and please hit me with some tough ones.
Amazing. That was right on time. We have a question coming up from Nick from Mergewave, and he will join us on the stage. Welcome, Nick.
Hi guys. Hi Alan. Happy to meet you, and the pitch was great. Thanks. And I would like to ask about the GTM strategy and the specific incentives, community incentives that you have in your product, because I understand that the strategy for now is great, but what are the next steps here?
Perfect. Thanks a lot for the question. Of course, I'm happy to share more about it. We are still kind of improving G2A in many ways since we are engaging a lot of new partners lately. But all in all, we are targeting both worlds, so like Web2 and Web3 users. So we take special care of this strategy from the early days. There are specific marketing actions like roadshows. We would like to have our own weekly show with star guests that we would call YIELDBRICK. We are involving many influencers from traditional market, for example, wealth managers. Then we have a few very special campaigns ready. One targeting specifically real estate trading license acquirers, so basically soon-to-be agents. And another to address athlete financial advisors, for example, which is a really strong niche market. For the end, I need to highlight our program called Find a Brick. This is a very special thing, and this will basically turn our community into sourcing agents. So they will have an opportunity to suggest a deal. We will then assess it, of course, and pass if it passes the DD and everything beside it, and we eventually invest. We will reward them with a share of the property value. So this is super interesting, and we have a great feedback from the community so far. So many similar activities are yet to be polished and released, but there's a lot going on around this topic.
Many thanks, Nick. We got many more questions coming up, so get prepared. Another one from Wendy from Bankwise. What is the sourcing and also the geography for the real estate offerings? How do you support liquidity for the secondary market?
Yeah, so we have a sourcing team which have more than 40 years of experience and 300 million AUM, as mentioned. There are 9 people who are basically sourcing deals on their daily basis, and we get from them like a weekly wrap-up of the opportunities out there. So this is being done on a regular daily tasks, basically. Our main focus in the initial stage will be in Southern Europe, Turkey, and UAE, because those markets are pretty much the ones that we know the best, and we're already sourcing these great opportunities for a while now. I think it's 8 months or 9 months since we are analyzing these markets, and this is where we are going to focus. So initially, we are going to invest and tokenize 2 million of properties. And when we sell these properties or fill the vaults, however you want it, we will basically reinvest. And this is the basic scaling strategy to start with. On the long term, we are definitely expanding. So in the next stage, we are going to add whole Europe. We are adding North Africa. Then we are going after Southeastern Asia, South America, and similar. So we don't want to limit ourselves too much. That's also one of the reasons of this Find a Brick program that I mentioned, because we want to expand knowledge, we want to educate our community and leverage it on both ends. So on the long term, we don't have any specific focus originally. but we are going to extract the best possible opportunities with long-term commitments, and we have a specific risk department as well, who is going to follow stability of specific markets and similar. As far as the liquidity goes, we as a team are also investing in these properties and vaults. So we will always have between 10 and 20% parked in these vaults from our personal, basically, funds. And this way we have special incentive, let's say so. And for that reason, we are definitely going to follow and mark and manage the properties properly. We will suggest, in case there is something going on in specific market, we will suggest to flip it in case we notice some risk and so on and so forth. And the liquidity, it is going to be like a reserve pool. So everybody can get into the instant swap feature and basically flip the slot for the stables, and this is coming to us. So it's basically going from our own funds. That is going to be like a reserve pool.
Understood. Thank you for clarifying. We have also a question coming up from Teddy from Plume Network. You haven't mentioned yet about any specific competitors. Can you briefly share more about this?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We actually wanted to include it in the pitch, but 5-minute slot is really tight. So thanks for that. I would like to say that kind of our role models from the back early days was Fundrise from Web3 and Realty from Web3 space, which are kind of pioneers in that space. Since then, we are following, I think, around 80 projects by now. We are following that on a daily basis and finding better solutions, improvements for us. That is going on for years now. But specifically in the real estate sector, as it is, I may name a few, let's say EstateX, BinaryX, PropChain, Props. There are quite a few that have a similar vision, but I think we are still taking quite a different approach, like an innovative one. So many of these competitors would like to focus on institutions and promising billion of liquidities overnight, although we know that's not the case. It's not going so fast. So that's why we decided to focus on the retail and small private investors. First of all, build the fundamentals on that, and then go into the institutional world. So for that reason, I think many of them are very limited in some way. Some of them are also focused in a specific developer, so they are pushing their portfolio up front and not really focusing on sourcing the best deals. So we see a lot of benefits in our case. So a lot of them are also using SPV model, which is basically replicated from Realty use case. So we don't like it from many reasons. I won't go too much into it right now. But I just wanted to say that our approach is much more different in a legal sense, in a security way, in a safety way. And we also expect a lot of major developments in terms of regulation and law rules in the next 3 to 5 years. So we think that is where the difference is going to be made in the next few years. And we have a really, really strict focus with our strong legal team to follow the best practices and adjust and improve in case there is a need. And this is how we are looking at it, more on a long term than on a short. And we just released, I have to mention it, we just released article with 13 competitive advantages in comparison to the competitors. We just released this article on Medium like a few days ago. So if anyone would like to go deep into it, there's some great stuff inside, and please take a look.
Great to hear. So you heard it, folks. We're also very tight on our time, and we have 2 judges that we haven't heard yet. So let's give them a shot, and please keep it as briefly as possible. We got a question from YIELDBRICKS from Chainlink Labs. What's the process for ongoing valuation of tokenized real estate, and how are price fluctuations handled?
Yeah, so basically the price fluctuations are handled with the risk department, as mentioned before. So since we have really specific sourcing process, we also have access to a lot of off-market deals. So we plan to get much better entry price points for these properties than the market goes for. So we will always do like a fair valuations with third parties. And in terms of any price fluctuations, we basically don't see that as an issue because we are focused on the yield. yield distribution. So unless yield is high enough, we will just hold the property. In case we see some risks in terms of falling price, we can put it in the market, and we are actually going to prioritize to flip the properties as much as possible, because we see on the long term, we see a lot more opportunities to generate additional revenue through the appreciation. So in case, let's put out a simple case, we buy the property for, I don't know, 150K, real valuation would be 180. In span of 6 months, we get a good opportunity to sell it for 220. Of course, we will do it because we generated almost 50% of additional revenue, additional yield for the users. And in this case, we are going to suggest it to all the pool participants, and 2/3 have to vote for it. If that's the case, we are putting on the market and fair share the appreciation as well. Close the pool, open the new one, and that's pretty much a simple way of saying it.
Understood. Then we will be moving on to the very last question. A great pleasure to have you on, Katie, from Outlier Ventures. She wonders, first of all, you're focusing on tokenized real estate now. Why real estate? And do you plan to expand to other kinds of tangible tokenized real world assets too? How are you thinking about your roadmap in this regard?
Yeah, thanks, Katie, for the question. We actually spoke a few days ago, so happy to see you around. Yeah, perfect question. We actually don't focus specifically on real estate on the long term, but that was a strategic decision because we are strictly focused on retail and small private investors, and these are the most familiar with real estate. It's one of the best investment opportunities, one of the best investment options for them historically. And as mentioned before, a lot of people would love to invest, but they don't have that option right now. So this is something new that we can deliver to our target audience. But on the long term, first of all, I would like to mention that this is basically the YIELDBRICKS 1.0. This model that I'm mentioning right now and that I pitched, but we are releasing YIELDBRICKS 2.0, which will be kind of a platform in the same model, similar model, but it will allow third-party property owners and developers to tokenize their yield opportunities, and YIELDBRICKS 3.0, which will be focused on institutions. So we have a lot of plans in the future in that regard, and also we are adding different assets in the future as well. Although on the long term, short and long term, we are always focused on yield-bearing assets. So this will be the main drive. When we see a good opportunity that can basically deliver stable and sustainable yield, we are up for it. We will just expand the markets by the need and by the opportunity. But in the first stage, we are specifically going for real estate, but this can change real fast.
Understood. Considering everything, thank you very much for being with us, Alan. All the best with the development.
Sure. Thanks a lot.